Hey everybody, how's it going? I wanted to make a video today about something that I talk a lot about, and I've even made other videos about, which is Black Moon Lilith, and specifically the psychology of Lilith. I talk about her mythologically, archetypally, and psycho-spirituality is basically what astrology is. It's the bridge between, the oldest bridge we have between psychology and spirituality, archetypal psychology, right? These archetypes have been around for a very long time. The myths have been there, for a long time. All of the planets in our solar system have to do with mythology. Every sign of the zodiac has to do with mythology. It's all so interwoven, right? So, these are the keys to our psychology. These are the keys to our self-understanding. So, Lilith. I have been doing some really, really powerful work that's been blowing my mind with clients around the integration of Lilith. And so I've titled this video, The Psychology of Lilith, from Shame to Becoming Uncontrollable, because this is so, so, so important right now on this planet with the pandemic, with authoritarianism in government, with just all kinds of, shady shit coming to the surface with Pluto, Jupiter, and Capricorn, where we can all see it. The psychology of Lilith, as far as I'm concerned, having read for hundreds and hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of people over the last several years of my practice, is that this is where we have been shamed, usually in early life. You want to be powerful, you want to be on top, you want to be giving authority to your wild intuition, your wild feminine, the serpent of Kundalini energy at the base of the spine, your sexuality, your life force energy, your capacity to just know deeply inside yourself what is, without an external stimulus, without external authority, without even the authority of your own left brain, your own socialized mind. Because here's the thing, this is where we get socialized, is in the mind. And the nervous system follows, the physical body follows, the emotions or suppression of the emotions really follows. And this is how we are able to be controlled. So Lilith is this key point in the chart where we are probably the most charged with shame and the most charged with suppression. It tends to be how we are negatively impacted by the overall tone of society where we grew up. Because it is patriarchal society that is male dominated, not because patriarchy is not the same as healthy masculinity at all. So, patriarchy is this control and the subordination of everyone who's not a male force that is left brain conquering nature. There's the whole paradigm of patriarchy that we've been in for thousands of years. In that kind of society in which almost all of us are very heavily socialized, you think about what is socialization. This is the right thing to do. This is the wrong thing to do. And how that fits into the developmental stages. This kid is allowed to express this at this stage. This kid is shamed at this stage. You go into the school system, and I say this all the time, but, we're at these little desks. We're these little creatures that just want to climb trees, and most of us are going into the school system. And so much of the school system, at least in the late 80s and early 90s, it was very much about, sit in a little desk and raise your hand if you want to go to the bathroom, and you're going to learn this, abridged version of United States history. We're not going to talk about the genocide. We're not going to talk about, we're training your mind to think a certain way. So this is being controlled. And this is like, no, that's bad. Don't touch yourself. Don't be a wild animal. Don't be a wild kid. That's all bad, 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 bad. So when you get punished enough times or shamed enough times for doing the Lilith in you, the wild creature in you, the just unruly, it's a wild life force energy, you're going to associate that with being punished, therefore being bad. And so what happens? The inner gaslighter is created. That's right, the inner part of you that understands socially, logically, okay, like, don't want that bad thing to happen to me again. Don't want to get hit or punished or shamed or disapproved of, because that's incredibly painful for a small child. We associate approval with love, so when we're not getting approved, we associate we're not being loved. So a kid will do anything to feel the love from their parents, including make themselves bad and wrong. So what starts to happen is you get shamed enough times that the inner gaslighter develops to take over for mom and dad so that you're good in mom and dad's eyes, or teachers, preachers, the school systems, whatever. Any kind of external authority that you're experiencing a lot in your life. And because most of us don't have rites of passage to understand psychologically and in our right brain, we don't have ritual anymore to signal like, oh, guess what? It's time for adulthood. And, you don't, this matrix is not controlling you anymore. People who don't break with their parents' authority, people who still have the negative binds, who haven't snipped the cords, or removed the cords out with love and just said, I love you and we'll still be connected, but I'm going to go do my own thing now, when there's shame and resistance to that. So, this can create a situation where you are just beating the shit out of yourself inside your own mind as the inner gaslighter, shaming, blaming yourself for your wild tendencies. You associate because you got shamed a lot, and those of us who grew up in narcissistic family systems know this, that the gaslighting's so intense, that the shame is so intense, that you really begin to see yourself and those parts of you as bad, wrong, shameful, just not acceptable, not okay. I'm a bad person because I have this Lilith energy here. So the importance of what I've been doing a lot with my clients recently, and it's just been so beautiful and so powerful, is to really do a lot of parts work involving Lilith. So this is getting the client to voice dialogue kind of works with this, parts work, internal family systems, this kind of a thing, to basically allowing someone to become Lilith full force and speak everything to who they think they are, which is the central I. And then if other parts need to come out, then other parts need to come out. But to really give Lilith a voice and to really let her be fully in her full power. And a lot of times we'll need to do completion process or some kind of a trauma integrative work with Lilith herself, because she's been so distorted and she's really so far back in the psyche and underneath a lot of pain and a lot of shame, feeling like she's supposed to be there, not because someone is currently victimizing us, but because it happened in the past and we have now filled in and are currently victimizing that part of us because we think that's what needs to keep happening. But, we get older, we have different friends, society keeps evolving, we've got the internet, we've got resources we didn't have when we were little kids, and it turns out I've kind of proven to myself that people want to work with me in my integrated Lilith to validate that part of myself, and to convince the inner gaslighter that's, really thinks that oh, you're never going to make any money, you're never going to have any success, it's all going to be terrible for you if you're authentic and in your Lilith energy and in your truth telling. You go from being in shame to being uncontrollable. What I noticed about so many people's Lilith is that once I really get her on her own without the inner gaslighter, when the person, agrees in our sessions to just fully change positions and step fully into the Lilith energy, what we begin to see is that Lilith herself, she might have a bit of an attitude at first, but once you kind of get through that, she's really just so clear. And what I'm really learning and finding right now is that it's that clarity that is dangerous to the establishment. It's that clarity and it's that lack of being able to be controlled that is that makes us want better pay, that makes us want better living situations, that makes us not want to turn on manipulative news and advertisements and just to stay asleep. Because once you're awake to your own inner life force energy and your own core primal power, you don't want to shut it down again, because it's a source of clarity, inspiration, pleasure, love, vitality. Did I mention clarity? I mean, I watch people go from confused and shamed to and really blocked to just absolutely tapping into the part of themselves that really knows the answer. Back in matriarchal times, they used to drink snake venom to see the future. And Lilith is associated with the serpent, and the serpent is associated with the deepest healing and the Kundalini energy and the life force and the regeneration. So what I'm saying here is that once we liberate Lilith, really get her talking, get her integrated, get the inner gaslighter taken care of, and to just understand that it's been gaslighting her, that there's nothing actually wrong with her, that it's actually the people who were abusive and just trying to kind of perpetuate these fragmentation practices to condition us to be well controlled, well tamed, well domesticated to fit into this society. Once you begin to understand that, then you actually separate the inner gaslighter from the central I and realize, oh, this inner gaslighter isn't actually me and my central authority. So this is how I've been working with people. I can't even tell you guys, it's been so incredible and so potent, and the shifts have been palpable through Zoom. Just absolute clarity coming over people, and I'm just really passionate about this work. So I wanted to make this video today as we're approaching the full moon in Scorpio, and as like 3 planets are about to go retrograde, and we're at the peak of a Venus cycle square Neptune, to just tell you guys about what I'm specializing in right now. And I've really been specializing in it for a while, but it's just this thing that's like taking shape and taking root, and I want this for all of you who are interested in really harnessing your astrology in an embodied way, to really reclaim your inner authority, reclaim your intuitive authority, reestablish self-trust at a time when things are really uncertain, where we don't know what's going to happen, to be able to come back to rely on the part of you that's probably been shamed the most, that actually knows most about what's up. In all of my client cases, when Lilith gets out and gets integrated, and we kind of smooth out her rough edges just a little bit so that she's able to work with the central I, we find that she's like the one with all the answers. I swear to God, it's like uncanny. She knows because Lilith is the part of us that knows without having to think about it. And because that's intimidating for people, because raw, unabashed truth-telling is not preferable to people who just want to play it safe and stay asleep, we censor that. But actually, truth is truth is truth. And when you're resonating with truth, then it becomes about how do you show up with that truth frequency just to inform yourself. We've got to get through the shame first, and we've got to move through the trauma. But when we treat her as her own part, we actually figure out the complexity and the depth and the potency of what she's made of. And you begin to become uncontrollable, unfuckable with confusion from out here, the externals, too much information from your own inner gaslighter, most importantly. And you start to really be able to take charge of your life from a place that feels really, really deeply, deeply right for you somatically and energetically and spiritually. And you get to experience the connection of all that it's just right here in the center. She was the woman in the tree, This is kind of a reflection of the Kundalini just rising in physical form, just striving, like reaching out of the earth from a little seed up to the sun. And this is what she does within the center of our bodies. So if you guys are feeling what I'm saying and you would like some support, I am still offering 6 weeks of coaching, and I have some spots open right now. And I believe so strongly that now is the time, that this is the time that we've been waiting for. Things will get worse before they get better, and for you to be best prepared in your own energy and to really have mastery of that, have mastery of your unconscious, because she's where we carry the most shame. And honestly, there's nothing too shameful for me, and that's really my brand, is that I'm not like a light and love, we are all one, coach all the time. That's one of the truths of the universe. And another truth of the universe is that we get down here into a place where it's been 6,500 years of patriarchy, and we're dealing with a lot of fragmentation. So in order to feel that in an authentic way and in a whole way, we've got to be able to address that which feels dark, that which feels not okay. Like, this isn't okay about me. It's not okay that I have this aggression. It's not okay that I have this, that I want to say, like, I'm going to lose all my friends. It's like Lilith is that place where we feel like we're just going to like lose everything if we activate this energy. So in my presence and in my coaching, because of my background in shamanic and evolutionary astrology, because I'm still, doing readings, if you're interested, links below to book, I really can decode and help you understand how we can help zero in on what's great about this thing that you've been convinced and convincing yourself for a very long time is so shameful, but is actually the most important key to your evolution at this time. I really believe that collectively and personally, Lilith is really where it's at. So, happy full moon, and if you're watching this later, then just hope this finds you well, and thanks for finding my channel. Subscribe if you like, check out some of the other videos about the kind of work I do, and hope to see you next time. All right, peace and take care.